Are you progressive but feel Democrats have gone too woke? Hear me out. There seems to be one main issue making some feel Democrats have veered too far left, which I believe is gender identity. We often confuse gender to mean the same thing as sex when it is not. Sex is the biological factors that make up a human, which then determines our ability when it comes to making babies. A person can be either male or female, which is easy to understand considering animals are also either male or female. These terms, though, do not mean the same thing as woman or man, nor are they interchangeable. You would not call your pet dog a man or a woman, but you would refer to it as a female or male. Understanding this distinction helps clarify the confusion around gender identity. Gender has nothing to do with someone's anatomy, though. It's just a set of characteristics that humans came up with to help us understand how we can expect to interact with each other. It is just a form of presenting yourself to the world. For example, if at the hospital your nurse looked like this, would you refer to them as sir, ma'am? What kind of small talk do you think they'd be interested in? A gender role is the characteristics we present that give people a glimpse into who we are. For instance, historically, a woman is expected to be interested in these things or embody them, while these for men. Now, imagine if throughout your life, not only was embodying only one set of traits expected of you by society, but it was instilled in you by your parents. For most of us, that is perfectly fine, but to some, it could lead to a life full of regrets. What if you affiliate yourself with a little bit of here and a little bit of there? So, some mix of both. So, now imagine being one of these people stuck in this situation not momentarily, but throughout your whole life, ever since you started developing your sense of self and creating your interests and ambitions. Would you have been invited to play sports during recess? Would you have missed out on realizing you'd make an amazing chef only if that interest had been sparked early on and supported by your parents? Would you end up never experiencing being in love just because you'd be scorned or worse your entire life? Think of it this way. Imagine if we were all assigned a sport and sport team at birth. For you, the idea of soccer might be boring and tedious. The loud games, the songs, the nonstop running, it's all too much. But golf, though, now that sounds amazing. You get to drive around a tiny car, you can play on your own, no chanting of songs, there's birds and nature, you can wear your flyest of fits. Now, compare that to being assigned a gender at birth where you are expected to act a certain way, look a certain way, sound a certain way, and if you don't, you will get side eyed, lose out on opportunities, or worse. It's a label you are stuck with that packs on all those previous attributes that tag along with that specific gender. So if you are the type of person that doesn't feel the need to switch the assigned sport you were given, I mean the gender you identify with for your whole life, then fine. Absolutely no one is forcing you or your loved ones to consider identifying with a different gender. But know that it's okay if others do choose to switch because it's as natural as finding the right sport. Unfortunately, these are the only two sets of characteristics that we have historically accepted that can make up a person. So, what if, for example, we made a third type of group that had a mixed combination of traits and we would wholeheartedly accept them in society? Maybe we'd call that gender manwo, and maybe they'd look like this. In a perfect future, we wouldn't have a need for genders of any kind since they pigeonhole us into subsets of the human experience. We would instead live life freely with less expectations of what type of person you're expected to be. We would be humans roaming the planet, meeting other humans, and possibly falling in love. And if by chance the reproductive organs align, then a new human can be made. And if they don't, fine, we have enough people as it is. But we are shy humans living in a developing society, and so because of that, we still need to add context to our identity to more easily socialize with each other. Fully understanding gender identity and how it plays a role in society will require a massive cultural shift that will take generations to get to. Yes, gender pronouns are complicated and adjusting our language is frustrating, but we don't have to do this right away. We just have to take the next step towards progress. Now, some aspects of this issue are incredibly contentious and complicated that no one currently has the answers to, like should children be allowed to undergo a transition surgery? Should intersex people compete in competitive sports? Should bathrooms conform to a person's sex, gender, or neither? As we continue to shape our society, we will continue to make mistakes on this issue along the way. I'm not suggesting that Democrats or Kamala Harris have all the answers, but I wholeheartedly believe Democrats are on the right side of history with a path towards progress. Now, consider this: if allowing people to choose which gender role they choose to identify with in their own private lives makes you uncomfortable, then that might say more about you than them. Anyway, gender identity as an issue is, I feel, the best example of why the term woke gets misunderstood and unfortunately a reason why people have turned away from the Democratic Party. Democrats aren't trying to impose radical ideas. They're advocating for people's right to be themselves without fear or judgment. It's about creating a world where people can live authentically, which in the end strengthens our country as a whole. In tomorrow's election, remember that voting is a chance to support understanding and acceptance, regardless of how we are each affected by the issues we are facing as a country. Be sure to make a plan on how you'll get to your polling site to vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and comment down below your thoughts on all this. Please share this video with someone who may be interested or is on the fence of who to vote for, and be sure to follow if you'd like to see similar videos. Thank you for listening.